introduce Doc. She was here this morning and she really set the stage to kick off the day. She's a doctor by trade and is now a Web3 spoken word artist. She hosts a podcast called Golden MetaSessions with the mission to educate service providers about how Web3 is the wave of the future and how to leverage this technology. Doc P's experienced firsthand what it feels like to transition from a corporate career as a doctor of pharmacy to realign with her soul's purpose, which is to help others align with their soul purpose and achieve their version of success. Spoken word is one of the modalities she uses to inspire aligned action, and she's had the honor of sharing the stage with legends in the space, including Gary Vee and Mark Cuban. So we're very excited to have you, and let's get this panel started.
Yes, excited to be here. Greetings, everyone. The panel before me was absolutely lit. I gathered so much insights and updates on what's happening in the Web3 space simply by listening in on the discussion. So thank you for that. And Karim, I did want to share that you're doing a fabulous job with this conference, and I'm sure you're doing the best you can with what you have, and you're doing incredible. So thank you so much for having me. Oh, you're muted.
The rest of you folks who've been on this panel with us and the audience and panel, thank you for sticking with us. We will have a great announcement, and you know what that is. It'll be a raffle in 45 minutes. So stay here, stay with us, keep the strength, and we're coming up to the end of our day, but not quite yet, so stay with us. But Doc, let's talk about this session. I actually am quite interested. If we look at everything that we've put together in the various sessions, in the various panels, the various people that have attended, and everyone is attending for a reason. And we're all here for a reason. Sometimes we have to discover and identify what that reason is. Sometimes we don't even know. So clarity in vision of understanding what our purpose is important. And so when we talk about the title of this session today, which is empowerment, a route to success, walk us through what this means to you and how it relates to the people that you've met here today.
Ooh, I love this question. And I'm really excited for this conversation because some may be thinking, what does empowerment have to do with anything, right? I'm here to learn about the metaverse. I'm here to learn about Web3. I'm here to learn about what's happening in the space. I'm here to learn about how I can get involved. But in order for you to get involved, there takes a certain level of empowerment. It takes a certain level of knowing the value that you have, a certain level of understanding your gifts, skill sets, and talents. This is another acronym. If you were here this morning, you learned one, and it stands for GOLD. It was GOLD. It stands for Genuine, Original, Loving Dreamer. In order for you to get or become, or at least identify that you are GOLD, a genuine, original, loving dreamer, it requires you to do this assessment or this golden exercise, as I call it, which is another acronym to add it to your vocabulary, GET, and identifying your gifts, expert skills, and your talents. And once you can identify that and own that and understand that no one in the world has your unique set of gifts, skill sets, and talents as you do, it then allows you to take aligned action. Because if you understand that since no one in the world has the exact same set of gifts, skill sets, and talents as you, and you understand that fully, like let that sink in, and you realize that if you're not doing what you can do with your unique set of gifts, skill sets, and talents, gifts, expert skill sets, and talents, that's what makes the acronym GET. If you're not doing what you can do with your unique set of gifts, expert skills, and talents, then that will forever never be done because only you can do it. And so when you let that sink in, it then allows you to kind of build this confidence within, right? You're like, okay, well, if I'm the only one who can do it, well, I'm doing a disservice to others if I'm not doing it. And I'm doing a disservice to myself, most importantly, by not taking that aligned action. So when you ask that question, what does empowerment mean to me? Knowing who you are and anchoring yourself in that knowing That's what empowerment truly means. And so one of the reasons why I've identified that people feel stuck is because the external world has made them forget who they are. And this was a comment that was said by one of the panelists, or I believe it was a question that you asked, is the media affecting our reality of what's actually happening? And it is. The external world, the media, whatever it is that you're surrounding yourself by is affecting your reality. And so one of the reasons why people feel stuck and perhaps maybe even unfulfilled and low energy, low confidence is because the external world has made them forget who they are. And this powerless feeling makes everything seem impossible. It makes you feel like you can't achieve this, you can't do that. I'm not going to apply for that job. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to take that opportunity to speak at that conference. Nobody will want to hear what I have to say. And so you start telling yourself these negative thoughts when they're absolutely not true. And it's so very important to understand that this powerless feeling that makes everything seem impossible, it's because we've given too much weight to what the external world has to say, and we've forgotten who we truly are. So to answer your question, empowerment means to me remembering who you are and re-anchoring yourself in that knowing. You're muted.
What are the steps that we have to take on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? I don't know what the time frame is, to actually separate ourselves from the negativity and to realize our power. What do we have to do? What are some of the steps that you would suggest?
Yeah, so there's a variety of different steps, and this actually is probably the meat of our discussion, Karim, is this 4-part prescription, as I like to call it. And I'm going to actually share a lot of what is actually in that article that we discussed earlier today, or we touched on, that's featured in Forbes. And in this article, it's a 4-part prescription that I wrote on how to transform your mindset from powerless to powerful. These are actual tools that you can utilize now in real time to change your mindset. And it's what you can also put in your, what I like to call your empowerment tool chest. This is a tool chest of things that whenever you feel misaligned, or whenever you feel that doubt creeping up, whenever you feel that lack, that sense of lack, whether it's a lack of support, whether it's a lack of confidence, whether it's a lack of comfort, whatever it is that you're feeling the lack of, you can pull and reach into your empowerment tool chest and pull out some of these prescriptions, as I like to call them. Given that I am a doctor of pharmacy, I like to utilize certain words that that come from my training. And so you'll see some of that sprinkled throughout my talks and my spoken word. So with that being said, before we dive deeper into these 4 prescriptions, as I like to call them, I want to touch on why this mindset work is so pertinent. And we talked about what empowerment means to me, but I really want to hone this in on, especially for those who are in the Web3 space. So one thing that really shook me when I first entered into the space, the Web3 space specifically, coming from the Web2 world, working as a pharmacist, and then shifting to start my own company and creating Golden Meta, which is an empowerment hub in which I educate businesses and supporting them, and shifting to the Web3 space and pivoting their services to support the Web3 community. I have the podcast in which I interview Web3 creatives. Coming from the Web2 world and doing all this, others might think, who are you? Who are you to come in as a doctor of pharmacy and do something so different from the education, from the training that you received? And what's interesting to note is that I've always been a spoken word artist. I've always had this within my heart. In fact, I say doctor by trade, spoken word artist at heart, because that's truly what I am. So I've incorporated a lot of spoken word into the modalities that I use to empower. So Golden Meta Hub is an empowerment hub specifically designed to educate and empower. And one of the biggest things that really shook me up as I shifted into the Web3 space and launched this Golden Meta Empowerment Hub was that people had the audacity to voice these far-fetched ideas. They wanted to create what in the metaverse? They wanted to launch the what collection that would have what utility? They wanted to do all these far-fetched ideas. They had these incredible visions, and it really, really affected and impressed me when people would not only listen to these ideas, but they'd say, wow, that's so cool. Let me help you. And this really blew my mind. Coming from the corporate structured world where there was a set way you do things, there was no going beyond that border. This is how you do it, and this is how it will forever be done, unless you have proof that it should be done otherwise, right? So it got me thinking, if we're not all thinking like this, if we're not all thinking with this yes mentality of, okay, this is great, how can I add value to this? If we're not all thinking like this with this optimistic mindset, then there's something wrong. Because I don't want to live in a realistic world built upon somebody else's dream. I've done that before, and it did not align. I want to create my own reality. And in order to do so, I need to believe in my dreams. In order for us to create our own reality, we need to believe in our dreams and have the courage to take action. And it's probably the most courageous action that one could ever take, which is why mindset work is pertinent. This is why it's so very important to do this work. And as you shared, start incorporating these routines, the practice into our daily. And especially now that we're entering into 2023, we're closing out 2022, and this is a year of so many unknowns. And as we enter into 2023, there's going to be more unknowns. And all these unknowns can really take a toll on our mental health. So as many of us here, we're business owners, we're navigating uncharted territory, and that's usually the norm, but there's been an unprecedented amount of uncertainty, especially as of late.
Before you get into the next one, why mindset? You talked about why the mindset work is pertinent and important and foundational. Before I can get there, before I can live my dream, before I can make a difference, before I can envision the reality that I want to be in, I've got a whole bunch of stress issues, right? I've got, Kerry's got me worried about the Web3 and how I'm going to work in the metaverse. Red's got me worried about my barber and my coffee shop. Shelly's got me worried about various other things. How then, if I've got all of these things going on in my head, how am I getting there? How do I identify my real reality? Real.
Ooh, that's very, very powerful question that you just brought up. And that actually is one of the prescriptions that I'd like to dive into, actually. And we don't need to skip forward to that particular prescription, but I would love to just hone in on a bit about identifying what's real and what's not by taking the time to affirm what is true to you. And many may identify this as affirmations. Affirmations are a way to speak what is true to you into existence, not what's true to others, but what's true to you. And of reminding yourself of who you are. And many may have actually used affirmations in the past, and I call these generic affirmations. If you found them online, they're generic affirmations. And again, it's another hint on the pharmacy background of mine. So these are generic affirmations. They're not branded. They're not custom made, designed to fit into your core values and your future goals. They're not custom made to tailor to who you are and what direction you're heading into. Generic affirmations may be useful if you're new to stating affirmations, but many have found that they're not as effective. In fact, studies have shown that if you're utilizing generic affirmations, that it's not likely to be as powerful as if you were to utilize branded or custom-made affirmations that are in alignment with your core values and your future goals. With that being said, when you can identify what's true to you and ask yourself if someone says something about, or even if you're thinking something, perhaps someone may have said something that may have got you thinking, the wheel spinning, the doubt creeping in, and you're thinking back over and over again what this individual may have told you or what you may have heard, and it may go something like this: who am I to take the mic? Who am I to start this project? Who am I to spearhead this project? Who am I to take the lead on this venture? Who am I? And when you ask yourself, is this true? So who am I? I come from a background where I don't have an understanding of this particular concept. There's a lot of things I still need to learn. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to offer. You start going down this negativity thought tunnel of self-doubt. And so, but if you can stop that by asking that thought, whether it comes from an outside source or from your internal dialogue, you can ask yourself, is this true? And if the answer is no, it stops that conversation in a heartbeat, because then you know that you're having a false conversation. And so this is the importance of having an internal dialogue that is empowered. Because when you have an empowered internal dialogue, you can identify things that are in alignment with that empowered dialogue. You can, it's called being mindful, right? And I think this word kind of came up earlier during today's conversation. This idea of being mindful, this idea of really taking the time to listen to the words that others are saying and the words that we're speaking. Because when you can identify internally what is not in alignment with an empowered dialogue and what is not building your confidence, what is not serving you, then you can identify when external words come through that, again, are not in alignment. So I see a question that came through for the panel, for the poll. Do you think companies are doing enough to empower minority groups? That's a wonderful question. I look forward to seeing the results. So I'd like to take the time now actually to start going through these four prescriptions to transform your mindset, if that's okay, Karim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The first prescription that I'd like to make for you all to start this journey, I'm sure many of you have already done some of this work, but I want you to add this to your empowerment tool chest. And the first one is to create what I like to call a golden gratitude list. So you all know, again, that GOLD is a powerful acronym. It stands for Genuine, Original, Loving, Dreamer. And I believe that we are all gold. So when you create this gratitude list, you're essentially reminding yourself of what it is that makes you gold. So on this list, you're going to include your innate gifts, your skill sets, expert skill sets that you've learned, maybe perhaps during your career path, or maybe you picked up in your personal life. And lastly, you're going to add your talents. These are things that you've been honing and working on throughout your life. So you're going to write out this list, and I encourage you to include at least 7 attributes in each category. And I want you to really dig deep during this exercise. This exercise is really meant to challenge you. And when you're writing out at least 7 of these attributes, it really helps you, it really makes you think. And you'll find that, like I said earlier during this conversation, that everyone has a unique set of gifts, skill sets, and talents. But it's really easy to forget. And that's why it's so very important to do this mindset work to re-anchor yourself, knowing that you have so much value. We all do. And so that's the first prescription, to write out your golden gratitude list. The second prescription is to stop stating generic affirmations. I hope we touched on this prior a few minutes ago. The use of generic affirmations, because studies have shown that in order for an affirmation to be effective in shifting your mindset from powerless to powerful, it must align with your core values and your future goals. This is very supportive of the importance of integrating your affirmations that are in alignment with your values and your goals. Yes, affirmations can be powerful, but the more powerful they are, but the more they align with your core values and your future goals, the more powerful they are. So this is why it's important to create your own. So when you break down what it means to be gold, I've said it again, I'm gonna say it over and over again. Your genuine characteristics and your original traits and the focus of your love and your most desired dreams, this is what makes you gold. These components make up your core values and your future goals. So I want to encourage everyone here to stop stating affirmations that are not in alignment, that are not specific to what you'd like to achieve. And when you get specific in your affirmations, you'll begin to feel more powerful. And again, this is based on studies. So I've done lots of research in the affirmation area, and because I wanted to really identify why people state these affirmations. And once I identified why, I wanted to make sure that I was speaking affirmations that would actually be powerful to help change my mindset and get it going, as I like to say. This is a powerful mantra coming from my Nigerian background that my mom would tell me, to get it going, Wadawanya. And in order for me to get it going, I needed to have this mindset shift. And I've done this research to show you that in order for an affirmation to be effective, it's important to stop stating generic affirmations. Branded affirmations only. Branded affirmations that are in alignment with your core values and your future goals. So this is a good time to actually share that I created a personal affirmation creation tool that's actually designed for users to craft their own very personal affirmations that actually are in alignment with their core values and their future goals. So the next prescription, this is prescription number 3 of 4. And these are all, if you'd like to read more about them, they're all in a Forbes article if you Google Dr. Peace Uche and Forbes. So the next one is to establish a piggy bank of self-trust. And I want to encourage you to begin with an empty jar, just an empty, simple jar. And you're going to start filling it with a single rock or crystal or bean. And you're going to do this each time that you do something that you feel that exercises your golden attributes. So you can do this when you say something positive that you've been able to contribute to. Maybe you accomplish something that utilizes your unique set of gifts, skill sets, and talents. Maybe you do so after you've crushed a talk and you're stoked that you crushed the talk and you want to give yourself accolades. And this is a really interesting exercise because it allows you to visually see the effect that you're having. And as you put each bean into your jar, it starts to fill up. And so it serves as a continuous reminder of your substantial value. It serves as a continuous reminder of your internal power. So over time, you'll see that you'll make deposits into your piggy bank, as I like to call it, and you'll build your self-credibility. And you may actually begin to shift your belief that you can indeed trust yourself more, that you did it before, you can do it again. You have authority, you have substantial value, and you can continue to make these deposits into your golden piggy bank. And this serves as an immediate physical reminder that you've done this, I've done this, I've achieved that, and I am gold. So that's prescription number 3, to make this golden piggy bank, if you will. The next, or the last final prescription, number 4, is to take a golden minute. This is a minute that I encourage everyone to take whenever limiting beliefs come up. Whenever they sense that internal dialogue that isn't in alignment with an empowered being, whenever limiting beliefs and self-doubts come up, I encourage you to take what I call a golden minute. This allows you to shift from powerless to powerful once you identify that you're in misalignment. And you can do the following exercise during this golden minute. The first thing you can do is to release negative energy and identify what that negative energy is, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's feeling like anxiety or frustration, or whatever that's holding you back, that block that you're that's holding you back. If you can identify what that block is and release that. And the next thing you're going to do is to set your intention for what you wish to feel. Set your intention for what you want to attract more of. So whether that's, if you want to attract more confidence, if you want to attract more ability to eloquently speak and share your words, if you want to attract more articulence, if you want to attract more grounding so that you can connect with others at a deeper level, whatever it is that you want to attract and feel more of, I want you to call your attention to that. And then call your attention to one single item from your gratitude list. You could take this a step further and actually look at your gratitude list, or look at the beans or the crystals that are in your jar and identify one of those traits from your memories of why you placed that bean or crystal in that jar. Call your attention to that. Call your attention to that past victory. And then lastly, call your attention to the virtues that you wish to harness and to grow. I am powerful. I am a confident being. I allow the flow of abundance in and through me. So these are simply some prescriptions, not simply, these are powerful prescriptions. And I encourage you all to add these prescriptions to your empowerment tool chest and pull them out whenever the feeling of self-doubt comes creeping in, the feeling of powerless comes creeping in, the feeling of hopelessness, or whatever it is that's holding you back from taking that forward step. So this is the empowerment calibration. This is something that I'd like for all of us to be able to do more of, so that we can empower our internal dialogue. Because when you come from a place of empoweredness, you're no longer looking to tear others down. Rather, you're looking to build others up. And when you can identify a negative internal dialogue and shut that down, it doesn't allow it to keep building speed. It doesn't allow it to go down that negativity thought tunnel. Because when that happens, then it starts affecting others. A negative internal dialogue then leads to a negative external dialogue. And so it's so very important to build our empowerment within, to have this empowered internal dialogue so that we can connect deeper with others within our relationships, whether they're business or personal. And I'd like to actually take the last minutes of our segment, if we have some time, to challenge everyone here to create one single powerful affirmation, a single powerful affirmation that aligns with your core values and your future goals. And I can share mine, and then if you still feel so called, you can share yours in the comments. And the one that I'd like to share is actually something that I've been actually putting together over the last year. This has been a powerful affirmation of mine, and I've added to it throughout the year. And it goes, I release the scarcity mindset, and I give myself permission to pivot. I give myself permission to receive. I embody a grateful giver. I am an abundant being, and I allow the flow of abundance in and through me. I encourage you to take these doses of inspiration that we've shared today. Take these doses as prescribed to shift from powerless to powerful, and really do something today. In fact, do something in this moment, whether it's writing your personal affirmation, do something today that will change the way that you behave with the people of tomorrow.
Doc, thank you. One last, when people want to find you, how do they find you? How do they get in touch with you? I'm going to suggest two things. That's one, at least let everyone know how to find you. How should they find you?
Yeah, so I'm going to make it easy for everyone. I created a website called Let's Flow Gold. You've heard me say it earlier today, and that's actually the website. So it's very easy, letsflowgold.com, letsflowgold.io. Whatever you put in will lead you to me, MetaDoc Peace, on all socials. So letsflowgold.io. And this will allow you to access this empowerment tool that we discussed today. This will allow you to access other empowerment tools, such as the personal affirmation creation tool that I mentioned earlier. And we can also learn how we can work together to craft consciously engaging marketing assets to help build your community and your profits. And I'm also in the middle of the Golden Gauntlet Affirmation Activation Challenge. This is a challenge that I'll be putting on the entire month of December, where I am challenging my community and myself to craft and state and activate their affirmations every single day. So I'm holding space on both TikTok and Twitter for 10 minutes each and every day to drop in and share, or at least tweet out your daily affirmation so that you can build up this routine of having this empowered internal dialogue that will extend to an empowered external dialogue.
So we've been on this earth for quite some time. Some of us longer than others. And this is the first time I've heard anyone say to the audience and myself, which is I was paying attention to it, do not create your affirmations behind generic affirmations. That is so powerful. And then listening to your affirmation that you created encompasses a thought that was much deeper and takes a lot of mental searching into what you want to be and accomplish. So that was beautiful. I also paid attention to some of the things that you said in your fourth or third lesson. And I noticed that you did not use any generic words or generic goals, and that was beautiful. So thank you for all of that. It's opened my eyes, and I hope other people's eyes. What I'd like to suggest to my team here is to share this video on social so that people find out who you are, what you're doing, and then we'll create a special Linqto Learn session for you next year, not for you, for us, that people can join, and we can spend an hour there going through these 4 sessions and do an exercise on that, and we'll help support the cause there because it's important. Funnily enough, this ties into some of the conversations that we're having tomorrow on our panel, which is top of people's mind, which is, we termed it simply, your relationship with wealth, or your relationship with finance, or your relationship with funding. It's all our relationship with what we think wealth is. But if we look at that at a deeper level, it ties into some of the things that you said today, which is, who are you, and what makes you passionate, and what makes you a person in your real world. And I think we'll be covering some of those topics, and this is a good precursor to understanding who we are as a person, what's important to us as individuals, and how we can create an environment for us to thrive without a generic affirmation, but thrive powerfully with the thoughtful flow of abundance through us to share.
Gold. Yes, thank you so very much for having me, Karim, and thank you everyone for joining and being a part of this empowerment affirmation workshop.
Thank you. Thank you.